Oh, okay, never mind. You sense that Soroka is imprisoned in a cage of psychic energy which surrounds her chamber and prevents her from passing through the opening. This energy is extremely powerful and has been synchronized to react to her brainwaves alone. To enter the chamber would cause you no injury, but if she ever attempted to pass through the invisible wall, the resulting release of force would be enough to destroy both her and the entire city of Thas. Whoa. Good lord. Cautiously, you pass through the opening and follow Soroka into a tall, domed chamber that is supported by a circle of huge, rose-vined marble pillars. At its center stands a large table, and from the ceiling directly above, a flood of light pours down, reflecting and refracting upon its crystal mosaic surface, and bathing the chamber walls in spectral colors. She bids you take a seat at the table, and as she lowers herself elegantly to the seat opposite, you cannot but admire her beauty. Her face has the feline characteristics of a young lioness, yet her eyes and her youthful body are distinctly human, save for the soft, velvety nap which covers her flesh. She bears an aura that is powerful and confident, and yet at the same time she seems vulnerable and sad. There's a picture of her. She kind of looks freaky, if you ask me. Just kind of weird. Fur and all that. I guess some people are into that kind of thing. How do you know my name? You ask, unnerved by the familiar way in which she welcomed you to her chamber. There is much I know about you, she replies, voraciously. And at once you sense that you are in the presence of a god-like being. Your land and your fight against the forces of darkness who threaten to conquer it are but a part of the struggle which rages throughout the planes of existence. Yet it is your world and your fight that has become the focus of this conflict between the powers of good and evil. She pauses, then, staring deeply into your eyes, she continues. Upon you depends the future of us all. No pressure, alright? Just the whole fate of the universe and all the planes around it. No pressure. Stunned by the enormity of what she has just said, you shake your head in open-mouthed silence. No, how can this be? You breathe incredulously. There are those who seek to shape destiny and those upon whom destiny falls. Destiny has chosen you, Lonewolf, and you cannot refuse it, for it will force itself upon you. Like a dirty old man and on a... You know, I'm not going to finish that joke. That's just going in a very, very dark place. But how do you know I've become to the focus of such a struggle? You reply. We are all a part of it, she says. The worlds of An and the Daziarn are shaped by the actions of those who exist there. Yet the time has now come when the actions of one individual will shape the futures of both worlds. You are that individual, Lonewolf, and your actions are destined to shape the future of every living thing. But what if I refuse, you say nervously? What then will happen to the future? We'll survive. I mean, it might be slightly worse than if he didn't refuse, but we'll find a way. Or, you cannot refuse, she says softly, for everything you do is bound up with your destiny. You have vowed to complete the Magna-Kai quest and restore the Kai. Would you give that up? I've been thinking about it. I really want to just make boats. Will you forsake your country and its future security? Will you abandon Magnamon to the evil of the Dark Lords? I don't know. Just how good of boats are we talking about here? No, by your very nature, because of your honor and your courage, you will act out your part. What must I do? You ask. You must do what you have always done. You must listen to the words of those who will help you, and you must let your skills and instinct be your guide. She leans forward and sweeps her hand slowly across the surface of the table. The light dims and patterns take shape among the tiny squares of crystal. Observe and learn, she says, for the images will impart knowledge that will aid your quest for the lore stones of your ancestors. The flickering patterns draw into focus, and you see before you a panoply of strange scenes, and the faces of many unknown creatures, some human, some bestial, and some that defy description. Many of the events which have befallen your world are mirrored here in the Daziarn, says Soroka, as you watch with growing fascination the image of a battle taking place between men and beast. We too are threatened by the forces of darkness. Many ages ago we triumphed over evil, but our victory was incomplete. Now our nemesis has come in the guise of the Chaos Master. Everywhere his seething corruptions encroach upon the goodly realms of the Daziarn, twisting and consuming all they touch. The vision of the battle fades and is replaced by a living map, similar to the light picture you were shown by the beholder of Yanis. Here are the realms that lie between the elemental strongholds of earth and water. Once this region was rich and populous with the creatures of light, but now it lies ravaged by the cancerous realm of the paradox. Only Vozada and Melador continue to resist, and the others have either disappeared into the neverness or been transformed into desolate wastelands. Here, she says, pointing to the middle of the table, is the Nagoth Forest, once the most fertile and great of the great timberlands. Now the scourge of chaos splits it asunder. And here the plain of Gurakor, the mightiest realm of Dazion, the mightiest realm the Dazion has ever known, reduced to dust by a plague of fire-breathing Zenga. Tears well up in her eyes as you sense the vision of the Gurakor has stirred painful memories. If you wish to ask what troubles her? Sure, because we're dicks and we like to bring up bad memories. It is the cruelty of the Chaos Master that saddens me so, she says in a whisper, as if fearing to be overheard. Before his coming, the plain of Gurakor was ruled by a great warrior called Sine, whose only fault, it was said, was a surfeit of pride. He loved me, and wished for the union of our realms, but alas, his love was unrequited. The joining of Gurakor and Vozada was not to be. To win my love and restore his injured pride, Sine struck a bargain with the Chaos Master, for in keeping with the paradoxical nature of that god, he is obliged to indulge in the granting of wishes to those who would dare demand them of him. The Chaos Master wove a spell to enchant me, and Sine was granted his wish. I became enamored of him, but the bargainings of the Chaos Master are in keeping with his nature. They are cruel and fickle. Upon the hour of our wedding, he appeared and demanded that Sine pay for his wish by ceding him half of his realm. He was refused, and in retribution he imprisoned me here in this tower, and wrought upon Sine such physical mutation that he fled Gurakor and hid himself in shame. Do you know what has become of him, you ask? Yes, she replies sadly. He is the ruler of a new realm. He has regained his power, but his body is forever a cruel reminder of his pact with the Chaos Master. He is the one who sent you to me. He is the beholder of Yanis. Ooh. But if he kisses me before the last petal falls from the rose, all the teapots will become people. Or something. Soroka blinks away her tears and forces herself to concentrate on the matter at hand. Again, the image fades from the table and a new one takes its place. A picture of forested hills and steep-sided valleys. This is where the lore stones emerged from the Shadow Gate, she says, her voice now calm and controlled. I detected their presence immediately, for their power they radiate is extraordinary. Where is this place, you ask? It is the Nagoth Forest, close to the border with Melador. I estimate that the lore stones lie within a few hundred yards of Telocus, the ancient burial ground of the Meladorians, she replies, but with caution in her voice. It is not good news, you ask, relieved to know at last where the objects of your quest are situated? Yes, it is, but for the struggle now taking place in the region. The Meladorians are locked in battle against the force of the Chaos Master, who is determined to claim all of the Nagoth for himself. Telokos is but a few leagues from where the fighting is fiercest. And then we have a picture of apparently two arm wrestling? Or clasping? You know what they're doing? They're clasping in the most epic bro clasp ever. They're just two bros that are like, yeah! We're gonna do something awesome! Yeah! Power! Then I must retrieve the lore stones quickly, you say, rising from your seat in your eagerness to press on with your quest. Indeed you must, but it would benefit you not if you were to reclaim them and then be unable to return to your home world for lack of knowing where to go. Be patient a little longer, Lonewolf, and I shall show you where in all this vast region of the Daziarn that you can find a shadow gate that leads to Magnamund. The vision of the Nagoth Forest dissolves, and a new one takes its place. It is of a city perched atop a rocky cliff, surrounded by a wall fortified with towers and grim bastions. Red flames glare from a row of tiny windows, and its huge stone gate is emblazoned with the symbol of a fiery dragon. Of course, you have a picture of that, so... This is Haggadar, says Soroka cheerlessly. Once it was the homeland of Sandai, the rulers of the Great Plains that stretched to the very edge of the strongholds of Earth. They were the first to fall to the chaos, and now their plains are dead and empty, wastelands of sterile rock and poisoned sand. Haggadar was claimed by the Chaos Master, and it becomes his abode. But as his foul empire expanded, he grew tired of it and abandoned it for other, less remote cities. It lay deserted for an age before outlaws and refugees from Gorakor sought sanctuary there from the creatures of chaos. It is now a forgotten city, yet within its heart there lies a secret that even the Chaos Master failed to discover. The Sandai were the guardians of a shadow gate. Long had they kept hidden its portal whilst they searched for a means to enter it. For unlike the shadow gates of your world, those of the Daziarn are closed. Only those who possess a key can pass through from this realm to the universe of On. Where is this key which allows entry into the shadow gate of Haggadar, you ask anxiously. Soroka rises her eyes from the table and smiles. Power is the key, and the power is now within your grasp. The two lore stones of Nixitor are the power. They are the key to your escape from the Daziarn. You must retrieve them from Talokus and the Naga forest, and then go to Haggadar. The Shadow Gate is to be found in the Temple of the Sandai at the center of the city. I can help you reach Talokos. Talakos! But beyond the Nagath, my powers of vision grow dim. You must let your skills and this map be your guide there. Of course, there's a map. Let's see if I can't make this, like, bigger. Can I? Oh, yes, I can. Look at that. Alright, so here's the Shadow Gate. Here is the Realm of Paradox. Quite big, actually. And then here's Vozada, Trisect. There's the Nagath Forest right here, and this is the Chaos, you know, how far they've incurred. The ruins of Talokus are right there. And then, of course, you gotta go on to the plains of Gorakor, and then there's the Neverness. And then over here is Haggadar. Easy peasy. There we go. Okay. Nope, wait. Nope. What's going on? Hang on a second. I got this. Don't you worry. I'm good. I know what I'm doing. You study the map, noting the dismay of the great distance that separates the Nagath forest from the city of Haggadar. Alright, from the pocket of her silken robe, she produces a map which she presses into your hand, marking on the action chart. That's what we just examined. You unfurl the parchment and study its contents. See the accompanying illustration, noting with dismay the great distance which separates the Nagath forest from the city of Haggadar. Come, you must rest before your journey to Talokos. I shall arrange for my Orkor. God, that's tiny. Hang on a second. There we go. Wait, oh, there we go. Okay. I shall arrange for my Orkor to take you there after you have slept and recovered your strength. Soroka rises from her seat and bids you follow her to an adjoining room where there is food and bath and a comfortable bed. There she leaves you, returning to the table to consult its visions while you relax despite the heavy sense of foreboding that haunts your mind. Restore the endurance to the original level before. Okay, good. Yay! Wait, what? No, 40. Okay, good. It seems as if you have only just closed your eyes when you are awoken from your sleep by the sound of Soroka's voice echoing in your mind. The time has come for you to begin your journey, Lonewolf. Quickly you dress and gather together your equipment before joining her at the Table of Visions. I have chosen Tuk Turan, my most able and trusted Orkor captain, and a company of his best Thasgars to escort you to Talokos. He is familiar with the forest tracks of the Cut Trisect, and he will ensure that you do not lose your way. She brings forth a black box inlaid with sparkling gems and unlocks it with a star-shaped key. With it, which she wears on a slender chain around her neck. "Take this, Lone Wolf, and keep it safe," she says, handing you a pyramid-shaped obsidian seal. "The war against the Chaos Master has made the Meladorians suspicious of all save their own kind, and they are wont to attack anything they fear could be an agent of chaos. When you meet them, show them the seal, and your safety will be assured. You mark the obsidian seal on your action chart as a special item which you carry in your pocket. If you already possess the maximum number of special items, you must discard one." Oh, crap. Right, let's see. No, I have room. One room. Seal. Okay. I am full now. Hopefully I won't get any more. Special items, that is. The war against the Chaos Master... Oh, no, never mind. Do not speak of your quest to anyone except their leader, Lorcan Ironheart. Seek him out. In him you can place your trust. While you slept, we communicated with our minds, and he has vowed to help you find the lore stones. She puts down the black box and gracefully walks towards the narrow exit from her chamber. In the room beyond, you see a stocky Okor, clad in polished bronze armor, waiting patiently for you to appear. "There is Tuk Tron," she says fondly. "He will be your guide." The creature brings himself stiffly to attention and salutes you with pride. "I am honored to have been chosen," he says, using a language that approximates your own. You return his salute and bid your thanks and farewell to Soroka. "You will succeed," she whispers and kisses your cheek. "You must succeed." Okay, you know, I know you're wise and all, but because I must succeed does not exactly dictate that I will. You know what, never mind. Whatever you say. You leave Soroka's chamber and follow Tuk Tron as he leads you out of the tower and along the busy street towards the city's main square. 3 gleaming bronze chariots, each drawn by a team of strange horse-like creatures called Onipa, are ready and waiting to take you to Talokos. God, I cannot pronounce these names. With the Okor captain, you climb aboard the leading chariot and grab the handrail as the driver cracks his whip. The Onipa surge forward in a cloud of thick dust, and chariots race out of the city and along a stony road that cuts through the center of the valley beyond. Again, they look a lot like horses to me. Not just a little like horses. 3 horses pass before you catch sight of a village on the road ahead. Tuk Tron grins and points repeatedly to his open mouth. "You want to eat here?" he says, shouting to make himself heard above the incessant rattling of the chariot wheels. "Yeah, sure, why not? Let's eat. Here." Tuk Tron slaps the driver's shoulder. Immediately he hauls on the reins and pulls at a lever which activates the wheel brakes, bringing the chariot to a squealing halt. The others stop nearby, and guards clamber down from the riding platforms unsteadily, their legs weak and trembling after hours of riding along the bumpy track. They are familiar with this village, and without hesitation they head towards a thatched hut that is set back from the road. You accompany the captain and his driver into the hut, stooping to enter the Okor-sized doorway. The villagers seem delighted to receive you as their guest and ply you eagerly with food and wine. One of them, an elderly female with kindly eyes, hobbles to your side and places a deck of cards on the table. "She's a teller of fortune," says Tuk Tron. "You want her to tell your fortune, yes?" "Yeah, sure. Want my fortune told." A wide grin cracks the old Okor's face. Awkwardly, she picks up the cards and shuffles them in her rheumatic hands. Okay. Before asking you to choose 3 of them at random. Random number table time 2. The cards you have chosen have 3 colorful symbols embossed on their leather-like surface. The first shows a black bird, the second a tree, and the third shows 2 swords crossed over a blazing fire. The old Okor traces a crooked finger along the cards and mutters continuously under her breath. Tuk Tron leans forward and tries to translate her mumblings. She says that you have an enemy in the skies. He comes to nest in the trees and fight with you. He not win fight, but you not win fight either. You must beware this enemy, for he will not rest until you die. So, pretty much like every other day in my life. I get it. While you ponder the meaning of her reading, she retrieves her cards from the table and shuffles away to help her daughters gather the empty food bowls. Tuktron swallows the last of his delicious meal and rounds it off with a hearty belch. The Okor villagers thank him, for it seems that such a reaction is the highest compliment one can pay after receiving Okor hospitality. We can go now, yes? He says, wiping his mouth with his sleeve. You nod your reply, and he in turn barks an order to his company to return to the chariots. As your chariot pulls away from her village, the old fortune teller waves farewell, and you return her gesture with a smile. You have no idea what you're talking about, you crazy bat, as you wave your hand and smile. A few miles beyond the village, the road leaves the valley and crosses an open expanse of lush grassland. The hours roll by, and you watch the passing landscape with an increasing wonder as you try to comprehend how it can thrive beneath a sunless sky. Slowly, the plain descends towards a wide river, sluggish with sediment and flanked by tall, gray-green trees. The bridge spans the dark water, and the road continues beyond towards a line of hills. The bridge is built of stout timber, but as you draw closer to it, you sense that something is seriously amiss. If you have the Magnified discipline of Hunt Mastery and have reached the rank of Principalian or more, yes, I have. By magnifying your vision, you are able to see that the middle of the bridge is damaged. Many of the planks have been torn up and strewn across the surface at random, crudely disguising the gaping hole. You scream a warning to Tuktron, and he is able to halt the chariots in time as they thunder towards the approaching ramp. If you have the Magnified discipline of Pathmanship and have reached the rank of Tutorial War, I do, and I have. Your senses scream a warning that the trees harbor hidden enemies. They are lurking, ready to ambush anyone who attempts to cross the bridge. You tell Tuktron, and immediately he orders his guards to dismount and take cover behind their chariots while he and his driver go forward to examine the damaged bridge. Do you wish to go with Tuktron? Yeah, sure, I wish to go with him. The two Okor scurry across the planks, and you follow closely on their heels, running half-crouched to make use of the cover afforded by the parapet of the bridge. You reach the center of the bridge and are relieved to see that the damage is not beyond repair. Whoever did this wanted to delay, not destroy. Tuktron signals to his guard to come and lend a hand with the repairs, but as soon as they leave the chariots, a chilling howl echoes from nearby trees. "Acta!" moans Tuktron, his voice whisper of fear. "Creatures of chaos!" A shiver runs down your spine when you see them. Lumbering hordes of twisted shapes lurch from the trees and on either side of the bridge and stagger drunkenly towards the chariots. They appear to be neither animal nor human, but a ghastly fusion of the two. Now, only the driver remains with the Onipa teams, and Tuktron is quick to see the danger. He commands the guards to return and leads him back across the bridge with his crystal sword held high. If you wish to follow Tuktron and help him defend the chariots, if you decide to stay where you are and attempt to repair the bridge, if you wish to abandon them, God, someone's got to repair the bridge, right? Alright, I shall repair the bridge, because, you know, I'm a carpenter. Always have been. As the clangor of arms and ghastly howl of the attacking chaos creatures grow in pitch and fervor, you work feverishly to reposition the planks and make the bridge more secure for the chariots to cross. Most of the damage is superficial, but one stout beam has been pulled out of place. Is a vital support. Without the center, it would be sure to collapse under the weight of the bronze chariots. You struggle to push it back into position, but it refuses to budge. If you have the Magnified discipline of Nexus, hey! Look at that! We do! Drawing upon your Magnified power, you will the beam to move while simultaneously pushing it into position with your feet. Slowly, the thick timber inches towards its bedding, but as it is about to drop snugly into place, your concentration is broken by a sound of a quiet, snickering laugh. You have the Magnified discipline of Divination and Hunt Mastery. Oh, I do! God, I have like everything this book wants. Your senses warn you that a hostile creature is lurking immediately behind and below you. At first opportunity, it tends to grab your legs and drag you into the river. Forewarned, you prepare to deliver the creature a fatal surprise. If you have a bow and wish to use it, sure, let's use it. Silently, you slip your bow from your shoulder and draw an arrow. The creature is close. You can sense it getting ready to pounce. Then, with matchless speed and skill, you twist around and shoot an arrow beneath the bridge. A loud yelp of pained surprise issues from below as you catch a glimpse of a hairy, misshapen creature tumbling into the river with your shaft driven deep in its forehead. Ha 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 ha! Epic fail! You know, his fail, not my fail. It's funny when it's not me. You watch as the dead beast splash into the water, and then focus your attention on the battle now raging around the chariots. The situation looks desperate. Tuktron and his guards are hard-pressed to keep the chaos creatures from breaking through to the bridge. You see the Ukor captain slay a lopping pig-like monster. Then he moves towards you, waving his sword and shouting something you cannot hear clearly. If you wish to find out what Tuktron is saying, yeah, of course I do. Tuktron runs to your side, his face and crystal sword splatter with the black blood of his foes. Hurry! This fight lost! You go! Go now! He snaps and points across the bridge to the hills beyond. A cursory glance confirms his grim statement. Only he and two of his guards remain standing. One fights left-handed, his right arm swinging broken and useless at his sides. The others, including the Onipa, have been slain by the howling creatures of chaos. Reluctantly, you obey Tuktron's command and hurry across the bridge, whilst he and his brave Ukor guards fight to cover your escape. Not until you reach the first ridge of hills do you look back to the bridge, hoping to see Tuktron and his guards victorious. But your hope is in vain. All that remains alive at the bridge is the ghoulishly grey horde of feasting Acta. Ugh. Shocked by your encounter with the Acta, you make your way deeper into the hills, skirting the road in favor of the wooded slopes and which offer good cover. Yet you keep the road in sight constantly to ensure that you are heading towards Tolakos. Your usual good sense of direction is vague and distorted, for in the region of the Desiarn there is no sun, stars, or points of the compass by which to gauge your position. The hours pass uneventfully until you reach a place where the road runs alongside a pool of crystal clear water, fed by a fast-flowing stream. Three human-shaped warriors clad in armor and standing near the pool scanning the woods, while their shaggy black Ikuni mounts drink their fuel. Fuel? Yes, well, their fill and their fuel, honestly. If you have the Magnite Discipline of Divination or Pathmanship, I do. Your Kai senses reveal that the three warriors are Meladorian scouts. They have been sent by their leader, Lokon Ironheart, to meet you en route and escort you directly to his headquarters. If you wish to make your presence known to them, if you wish to approach under the cover of the trees. I'm going to make my presence known to them. No reason to sneak up on them. Stepping out from behind a tree, you wave and shout a greeting to the three Meladorian scouts. Instinctively, they dive for cover, fearing an ambush, and one looses a bolt from a crossbow-like device strapped to his arm. The bronze-tipped curl whistles towards your chest with unearning accuracy. Well, how do you like that? Pick a number on the random number table if you possess Hunt Mastery. Add 1 to this number if you possess for every Magna discipline you have mastered after the first 3. For example, if you possess 5, add 2. Alright, I have, what? Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I add 5, 6. I add 6 to the number. Random number table, don't let me down. 4 plus 6 is 10. Good job, random number table. Your lightning reactions save your life. You twist aside to avoid the deadly bolt as it passes within inches of your chest, thudding into a tree behind. Instantly, you drop to your knees and crawl rapidly through the undergrowth, lest they fire again at the place where you stood. You stop when you reach the bushes that border the road. For opposite, you can see the scouts crouching nervously beside their mounts. If you possess the Magna Discipline of Divination and wish to call them telepathically, yeah, sure. Let's do that. One of the scouts turns his head and answers your mind call out loud. Show yourself, he orders, much to the surprise of his two companions, who possess no psychic skill and did not hear your telepathic message. You emerge from the foliage, your hands held open and away from your body. The other two spin around to face you, raising their forearms in reflex action at your sudden appearance. "Hold it!" snaps the telepath to his companions, who are both on the verge of firing their bows. He is the one. They seem unimpressed by his judgment and refuse to lower their bows until you suggest that one of them looks in your pocket for if it is proof of your identity they require. The scout removes the obsidian seal from your tunic pocket and studies it thoroughly. "Very well," he says, satisfied that you are the one they have been detailed to escort. "We will take you to Locon Ironheart." He pockets the obsidian seal. Delete that from your chart. Okay, good. Freeing up space. And motions you to approach his strange, long-haired steed. You ride pillion behind the saddle, yet the creature's shaggy coat makes for a comfortable seat as the steed gallops like a racehorse along the winding hill road. Huge tree trunks flash past, a blur of gray and brown, and the hills gradually recede until the forest rules supreme. The scouts leave the road and follow a smaller track which delves deep into the majestic timberland. They slow their pace, feeling safer now that they are back in familiar territory, and soon you arrive at a clearing. Hundreds of Meladorian soldiers are encamped here inside a perimeter wall of earth and logs. A cordon of sentries patrols the wall. They are alert and nervous, their eyes scrutinizing every shadow. A wheeled barricade of sawn timbers protects the only entrance, and at your approach it is pushed aside to allow you entry. A small log cabin has been built at the heart of the tented encampment, and the scouts bring their steeds to a halt near its front door. Quickly they dismount and usher you inside to meet their leader. Seated before you at a desk lit by tall candles, one set at each corner, are two pale-skinned Meladorian nobles. How do I know they're nobles? The flickering yellow flame glints on the fine antique workmanship of their armor and exaggerates the shadows that play on their faces as they argue their strategies for an impending battle. On seeing you enter, the conference is brought to an abrupt close. One of the officers bows and takes his leave. The other beckons the scout to approach the desk and make his report. Briefly, the scout tells of how they met you and what has become of the Okor escort. He shows the officer the obsidian seal given to you by Soroka before leaving the city of Thas. The officer clasps the pyramidal stone in the palm of his hand and then stares directly into your eyes. A tingle of surprise prickles your skin when you return his gaze, for you notice that his eyes are misty blue, without the whites or any obvious pupils. And with that, folks, we're going to have to stop here because I am out of time. But don't worry, the rest of this should be recorded and up later this same week. Like, you know, later this week. So I'm just splitting it up into two parts. So, cliffhanger! I will see you guys next time. Bye!